Coming up, your boys are back. Derek's in the house. Gabe has sold a house and is sitting down and breaking bread with us. Connor's here, fresh off of cleaning some pipes. But we're here to talk about the end of the season hockey. We're going to talk all Canucks, review our over-unders, who was right, who was wrong, and who do we think is going to win the Stanley Cup. All right. Hey, so it's been a little bit of time since we last met, right? I don't even think the Four Nations had ended, right?
No. If I'm not mistaken, JT traded just happened.
Yes, it was a week before the trade deadline.
Yeah, because I remember we were trying to discuss, we were like, do we want to do it now or wait till something happens with JT? Because the whole pod would have been about JT predictions if we hadn't.
Connor nailed that, by the way, because I don't know if you recall, he was the one that said Rantanen might be traded again. And he did get traded again, right?
You're welcome.
It was a pretty awesome. It was a pretty awesome trade deadline. That was one of the best trade deadlines in a really long time.
The Rantanen trade really helped bring it on because I felt like it was a little dead leading into it. It was one of those trade deadlines where a bunch of big trades happened like the week leading up, like us with JT, and then pretty much like not a lot happened that day. Like I was listening on the radio all day, and then the Rantanen thing dropped, and then a few more things dropped, and it just created a good trade deadline.
I want to give a shout out to John Tavares. I feel like he's the man that truly started this idea of not just staying in the team for your whole thing because you were there. So I feel like he started that, and I loved it. I loved it.
It's way more fun.
Felt like NBA.
It really did. And there was some stuff, like there was some background stuff that happened with Rantanen after. I don't know if you read into the whole drama and his agent.
So from what I remember, it was after Rantanen got traded to Dallas. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that Rantanen said that he didn't want to sign his 8 years with Carolina, right? And then the agent was like, no, that's BS. And there was kind of like a he said, she said kind of situation.
Okay.
Well, the big one for me was he kind of looked like an asshole to Colorado because basically
Rantanen did?
Rantanen did. Because I don't know if you saw the interview he did after when he signed the 8 years with Dallas.
I did not.
He basically said it's like a shock for him, right? But he really wanted to stay in Colorado.
Right.
That was the big thing. But he ended up taking basically the same amount of money or less than he would have been offered in Colorado to stay in Dallas. And so essentially he was fronting to get more money, and Colorado called him on his bluff and was like, we're not going to play the rest of the season out with this drama with you. We're in cup contention.
Right.
So we'd rather get assets now than play this back and forth game. So then he gets traded to Dallas, and now there's this whole awkward thing where he would have been able to stay in Colorado for exactly the same amount.
But I thought there was something to do with taxes was a thing. So although it's the same money, it's more money. Or is that just not... That maybe can be a thing, but that wasn't part of the actual issue?
I mean, I guess, but he didn't sign for such an astronomical amount to make it so... I don't know, to make it that much more... like that much more significant.
Right.
It's just kind of a slap... From what I've read from Colorado fans, is it feels like a slap in the face that... Like, why did you do this to us when we could have just had you?
Yeah, I don't get why you'd want to leave there if you're him.
Yeah, I think they made a fair offer to begin with. I mean, that's what he signed for. So, like, clearly even he thought it was fair. He just, like Dak said, he was trying to bluff, and they called his bluff, and then it all kind of went back in his face, and then Carolina sadly got involved for their own sakes. I feel bad for them now between Gunsel and Rantanen. Like, just looks... kind of shitty. Did their GM get fired yet? I don't. Or the playoffs,
Whatever, right?
So yeah,
no. I think honestly,
you're gonna wonder if they just get knocked out sooner than later. He's probably getting fired.
The initial reaction after the Rantanen trade, everyone was shitting on the Colorado GM, and I think it's a shrewd move. Honestly,
yeah.
I deep down believe that the GM, what's his name?
Hey Siri, who's the GM of Colorado?
Siri. Siri. Siri uses ChatGPT.
That's whack. Yeah, Siri's too lazy to look it up.
Damn.
Holy,
sorry,
so we'll never know. Yeah, sorry.
Finish the podcast.
It's all good. I think that the GM deep down believed that there was a better match for McKinnon I mean, and it shows right now so far that like this extra speed that Nietzsche's has that matches up better.
I thought the Hall was always fine, like Nietzsche's, that Blake kid, and like a second or something. Like I thought at the time, I was like, it's a good deal. I mean, you can't complain. I'm always hesitant on Nietzsche's as a player, but there's lots of upside. He's 26, something like that. So
I think
it made a lot of sense on their end to make that trade. And we all thought Rantanen would be happy in Carolina and the mostly Finnish team with Aho and whatnot.
Right.
And it made a lot of sense. And then, like, I still don't really get why, personally, he didn't want to play there and what the like.
I actually know it was the system.
System in Brindamore, I'm guessing, right?
He basically
That's all it
went
comes
from
down to, but. At the same time, I'm like, well, I don't know what's so wrong with the good system.
So what was the system that what didn't you like about it?
So Rob Brindamore is notorious for rolling all four lines.
Yeah.
So you can have a star player and he averages maybe 18 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of defensive games.
To like 20, 21. Like the top end guys, you should theoretically, if you're a good team, you should be capping at around 21, 22, and then maybe dipping into 25, 26 in the playoffs.
Right. Okay.
But over a full season, for example, McKinnon averages around like a 21-minute, game.
Right.
So Rantanen went from basically doing that to like whatever Aho and Svechnikov.
Yeah.
And his play
17, 18
dipped.
minutes.
Like just I don't know if you looked at his stats in Carolina, but
he also looked like, I watched game 2 or 3 there, and he just looked like he wasn't happy. And I think a big part of it was just being traded. Like, he didn't actually want to leave Colorado, and then when he wound up in Carolina, he was just unhappy with the situation, so he just played like a sourpuss, basically.
Right.
And then it led to just terrible production, and like his minutes, I think, even went further and further down after that. Like, they started giving him 18, 19, and then it dropped down to like 14 by the time he was gone. So,
But good for Dallas, though, because
Yeah.
Dallas is set now for... They're a contender for the next 5-6 years.
That top line is
easy.
Do you think it's the best line in the league?
Their
Best top line?
Best top line.
Their forward group looks so good going forward. Even a guy like Maverick Bork still has potential to be something, and like that's crazy that they still have young guys. And that was my Harley. That was my biggest thing. I thought personally that all they had on the back end was Heiskanen, and that was going to be
Dude, Harley's a stud.
But now Harley's amazing.
Stud.
Like we watched this after we last had this podcast, but yeah, like Harley's amazing. Like he actually looks like he might be as good or better even than Heiskanen
because he plays defense,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
one of my favorite things about defenders is when they defend.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that like that's literally sometimes forgot about defenders is they should defend.
Okay, so this is actually my knock about the Norris. I get like the best defender, right? And sometimes it's like the defender that plays like that gets the most points. That's basically the award now. But the year Erik Karlsson won it, I didn't think he was the Norris winner.
no.
Like, what do you think constitutes a like? I agree with you. I think it is stupid. It's just like if you put up 100 points as a defenseman, 100's pretty fun.
But still, like
I don't understand
know,
how we don't have we have the Selke. Right. How is there not just a Selke for defense?
So what do you think
so many players
how would you
Jacob
give
Slavin
the Norris?
should have probably won it
every
year for
let's go around. How would you give the Norris?
Okay, so let's just say they didn't split the award.
Yeah.
How I would give the Norris is the best overall defender. So like scoring, but also the defensive side.
So like you have to have a good plus minus.
So my example is the year that Fox won. It should have been Hedman. Hedman was the best defender in the league that year.
Yeah.
It was not Fox. Like Fox was the best scorer that year.
Yeah.
But Hedman was the best defender.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So like for example, Shea Weber probably should have won the Norris for a decade.
Times.
But he did win a couple times, did he not?
No, but he should have won it. Like when Shea Weber was in his prime for like 10 years, maybe even a bit longer, he was for sure the best actual defensive defenseman in the NHL by far.
Yeah.
It was not even a question.
And his point totals were always good, but there's always someone who had more point totals. Like there's that Washington guy who somehow
Mike Crane.
Like there's guys like that would pop up every year and take it from him, and they really shouldn't have. Because they had 10 or 20 more points than him, but they literally sucked at defense.
Yeah, like
they literally were like minus. Yeah, they were like minus 20. They played third pair guys when they were on D. Shea Weber's out there against the McDavids every shift. Like that's the thing when you're saying like what's the measure? It's not really plus minus. Like that matters, but in today's age we have all these fancier stats of like Corsi and all these stats.
So how would you do it if you were?
To me, I mean, if I'm looking at the best defenseman in the league, a big part of it is like they can now break it down to like what type of players they're actually playing against. Like they can go, oh, Quinn Hughes played this many minutes against first line opposition versus this guy played third line opposition. So you can be like, oh, well, this guy's really good. He had all these points, but he plays primarily in the defensive zone against third line competition.
Right.
Versus a guy like Quinn Hughes, say he has 10 less points than him, but he's on, playing McDavid every shift level players, like first line guys. That's so much better defensively.
Absolutely.
Like if he has the same plus minus as the guy who's playing third line competition, but he's playing Connor freaking McDavid.
Well, and then also too, if you put up good numbers and you are playing against it shows how good you are because you're like bringing the offense off of your defense.
So there's guys that I think have been a little slept on over the last few years, and they're more of like not slept on. They're getting more recognition today, but like maybe like a Josh Morrissey, Charlie McAvoy type. I think they're really good defensemen, but they don't often. More McAvoy, I should say. Like Charlie McAvoy doesn't often break like a 50-point kind of thing. But if you actually broke down all the defensive stuff, like in my opinion, he might be like a top 10 D in the league, but he'll never get that recognition because he's never going to put up more than like 50 points in a year. So it's like he's not to the Shea Weber extent, but like there's guys like that. Like Jakub Slavin is like the obvious one. I think Gabe can attest. Like
his takeaways are insane.
Like defensive defenseman in the league, he's probably been literally the best of the last 8 years.
Gabe, how would you go about that?
I don't know. I agree with what these guys said, but I think you definitely have to factor in, hit block total as well. And I think that's pretty much it. I like to add, I really liked when they start comparing Hughes and McCarr with those numbers of, certain players that play with him, like when McKinnon is on the ice and off the ice. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was a really big eye-opener into last year why Hughes kind of easily took it from McCarr was people started breaking down those stats, being like, McCarr put up most of his points playing with McKinnon and Rantanen. Quinn Hughes was putting up the same or better point totals with like Sam Lafferty.
Joshua.
So you know what I mean? Like it's just like if you can do that with apex players, that's great and all, but if you can also do it with third and fourth liners, who's really the better player?
So I do agree with everyone. I would think how I would do it would be, I think what you said is because you do have to like put statistics into it somehow because like there is more to it than the stats, but I think you should just lean heavier on defensive stats. Like, this guy you put up some points, and let's say Derek and Connor at the end of the season, and we have the same point or same blocks, hits, and all that, whatever the defensive stats are. Then you look into points, but it should be like points are more down the line. It should be all the other stats are brought into it more, like because it just makes more sense as opposed to being like, the best defender got the most points. You're like, that doesn't really make sense.
That's why I want a Selke version of a defenseman award. Yeah. Like there has to, like we have all these awards that basically cater to offensive players. Mm-hmm. And we have one that caters to a defensive offensive player. Why do we not have one for defense? Like there's so many defensemen in the league and we really just have one award that primarily goes to them.
Who would you name the award after?
For this year?
No, in
general.
You have to make a Selke for maybe. Defense. Who would you name give
one nomination
name
each?
Sure.
Are we talking like older players or more current players?
It doesn't matter. It's who you think is like... Well, it can't be a current player, I'd assume, because...
It'd make more sense. It has to be someone retired, right?
I already have my guy.
I got my guy.
I think it has to be Nicholas Lidstrom.
Okay. That's...
But he got so many... He got Norris's, right?
Yeah,
he got many Norris's.
But he never
was
actually... the perfect blend of like defense.
He was at the time where there wasn't a lot of defensemen getting points. Like that answer. It was a low-scoring age.
He was like 70, 80 points. Sometimes
a lot of years he had like 50, 60s, but there's just nobody else putting up crazy numbers. But he also was elite defensively. I was going to say, I'm going to go Scott Niedermayer then.
That's a good one too. That's a really good one too.
It's like he was very much like he also put up pretty good point totals. He was never leading the league as a defenseman. I feel like every other, maybe he did lead a couple years, but he was just like Lidstrom. He was just hard to play against. Everyone knew he was hard to play against. He was always matching the number one guy that was on the ice. So
okay,
yeah. I was going to pick his compatriot, Chris Pronger.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about less points and more all-around defenseman,
still had points.
He scored a couple, little bit less. Yeah. Like he would never won the Norris.
Pronger won at least once.
Did he? I would not.
I'd say ask Siri, but it'll tell us to ask ChatGPT.
Did you download it yet?
No.
I do believe it might have just been once.
Yeah, okay.
Because he had a lot of goals one year. He had like 20 goals, which was crazy back then for defensemen.
Still, I think that would be like the player that doesn't get
because he played a gritty hard style too, right?
I'm gonna throw out a homer pick. I think they should call it the Dan Hamhuis.
Okay. I thought you were gonna go Edler.
Dan Hamhuis.
He did win it once.
Really?
Chris Pronger. Get this.
Anaheim?
What other award did he also win it the year that he won?
MVP.
He won one time.
Hart.
Yeah, he won the Hart Trophy, 99-2000. He won the Hart
too.
And the Norris in the same year.
Was that with the Ducks?
Wow.
St. Louis.
Oh,
I was thinking
St. Louis,
yeah.
he was a monster.
He was a monster in St. Louis. That was where he had 20 goals or something, I think, right?
Al McInnes was his partner.
I hated
Kachuk, the other Kachuk.
I hated Pronger.
Keith.
I hated him, man. He was so good, but his face, just everything about him pissed me off.
Threw like a lot of great hits.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I don't know.
When he was in Anaheim, he looked like a duck. Like, I hated Pronger, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we jump into Canucks, I kind of want to do like a mini recap of the season, I guess. I mean, we'll do a huge one in the over-under anyway, so I don't want to get too nitty-gritty in all the teams, but maybe let's just say let's go around the table and go name one thing that you were pleasantly surprised with this season, not the Canucks related. Name one thing you were super disappointed about the season, non-Canucks related. And who is your non-MVP MVP? So a guy that would never win the Hart, but your MVP of this season.
Okay, those are good ones.
Yeah,
Okay,
just for fun. I'll start it off.
Yeah.
Because just to give you guys a little bit of time. I was really pleasantly surprised by how entertaining even the bad teams were. I don't know if you tuned in. The Sharks were god awful this year, but super fun. Yeah. Like hockey was actually legitimately really fun to watch this year, along with the Four Nations. There was just very rare you would turn a game on and it would just be a boring watch. Yeah. So I was really pleasantly surprised about that. Super disappointed with Bedard. I thought he would make the leap. And I think all thought Chicago was going to be a little bit better considering who they signed. And Bedard was just not very good. For Bedard standards. He was like an average person. Mm-hmm. And my non-MVP MVP this year is JT Miller.
Homer pick.
He single-handedly gave me a reason to tune into the Canucks because we were pretty bad for most of the time. And then he gets traded and all of a sudden he's back to being good. It was just one more step to the NHL becoming exactly like
NBA.
The NBA.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need that drama.
Absolutely, yeah.
This season felt a little bit like, now that I'm watching a little more of the NBA and being in the draft there with you guys, like realizing the drama that goes on and just how little loyalty players have and how drama just kind of controls the environment there. It's like, oh man, it's spilling over into the NHL.
And that MVP can be anything. I just chose to go that
route. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about that because it was funny the drama outside of it all.
That's fair. I'll go next. I might need you to do the questions again.
Pleasantly surprised with this.
Pleasantly surprised. I'll leave someone else to do the Washington Capitals, so I'll do Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, Columbus Blue Jackets, I mean, obviously tragedy with the Gaudreau brothers, but I still think even me thinking a little bit that they might kind of rally around that, never expected them to like rally with the team they had to this extent of like being 2 points out of a playoff spot. It came down to the last game.
They had so many rookies come, like Voronkov came out of nowhere. He was like a 60-point player.
It's one of those things where I kept thinking they had enough rookies that maybe something fun could happen. I didn't think they'd all like hit on the same year.
Jackson's boy, Zach Werenski.
Yeah, Zach. Yeah. I've always it was him and Shea Theodore. I've always drafted them every single year.
He just gets hurt. And
he didn't get hurt. He finally didn't get hurt.
Just what did he get hurt?
84 points.
Yeah, he killed it.
That's what you drafted him like 5 years ago, hoping.
Yeah. No, him and then like Gabe alluded to, like all the kids, right? Ken Johnson, like all of them, just Fantilli. Everyone took a step. And it looks like super positive going forward over there. I still think they could use a little help on defense, but like probably more goaltending actually. But yeah, their future looks bright, and I don't think anyone actually expected them. Like most people had them pegged for last place in the league. Like if you looked at all the experts planning on or predicting on where they thought teams were going to land, like 9 out of 10 of them picked Columbus for last in the league.
Everybody took a leap.
So
literally everybody took
everything
a leap.
except their goaltending. Everything. I think that held them back.
Yeah, they have one of the best.
They had every reason to be in the playoffs this year if they had anything above 900 goaltending, which is not usually that hard to come across. But Merzlikins is terrible. They're going to buy him out and replace him with anybody, and they should potentially make the playoffs next year.
They had one of the best third lines in the entire league with Olivier.
Yeah.
Like that guy's
Matthew
so
Olivier
good.
is kind of their
Joseph,
Joshua.
right?
Joseph. Yeah.
Matthew Olivier is their Dakota Joshua this year. And then again, all the kids. Fantilli, Johnson, Sillinger.
Marchenko
took a
Holy
huge
dude.
leap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's a scoring machine.
Yeah, he's a scoring machine. He looks really good.
It looks like Kucherov.
30 goals? 30 goals?
And it's crazy, dude.
And
I know from their prospect rankings, they're one of the best pools still. They have like this Caden Lidstrom kid. Looks really good. He was their first rounder from last year, the year before. I believe they have another defenseman on the way too. Yeah, if they can sort out goaltending, I'm really interested to see where they go. So that's my biggest surprise. Biggest letdown, probably stealing this from you guys too, but Nashville Predators. I had hope.
I called it. I called it from the very first day. I said,
I had
they look
hope.
old.
Yeah.
I had hope. I've always been like this.
Front and center.
I've always been like a little bit of a fan, largely because of Steve. I feel like from Jason Arnott and a couple of guys they had back in the day.
Steve, that's fair. I've always liked them because Steve. I will give Steve Batista this. He has from day one always been a Nashville fan.
Yeah, it's always
even
been
when we made fun of them as kids because they were puke yellow jerseys. He stuck by them hard.
Yeah. And then they've been a boring team, and this is the one year they finally like went out and spent money and brought in interesting players too, like fun players, big names,
good players.
And then I mean, like I just like I tried to like figure out what happened over there, but just total flop. And in fairness, Dax called it out. All the old aging star players were just that aging star players, and I don't know why I thought they'd all have. I didn't even expect a rejuvenation. I just thought they'd have like 1 or 2 more years in them, and they all declined at the same time.
I think if those aging star players go to a team where the team's really good and young, and like really good and young, they can like be there because they have all these young guys.
Like imagine Columbus,
and they're the gritty vet with the skill. But as soon as you like need them to like put the graft in for the team, it's an old guy.
Yeah,
it's
like
tough.
I picture what like Monahan did with Columbus, being like an older veteran too, right? And it like rejuvenated his career because, like you said, I think it's just all the young talent around him that's trying to be the new face of the team.
He's 29.
I know, but like veteran. Sorry, veteran. Like you know, he's been in the league 10 years. He's a veteran, but like that rejuvenation, like he needed it. His career was on the fringe.
How weird is that? How weird is that? As you get older, like I remember when we were young in school and we thought these were like men playing the sport, and now you're looking at a 19-year-old that just signed like a $10 million contract, and you're like, "What? This young boy?"
Or like Dax just alluded to, me calling a 29-year-old old, and I'm 34.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of miles.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of those like injuries, miles, and like he had some setbacks. So like there was a big reason to believe his career was maybe over. And then he, again, just the young guys rejuvenated his career. So in Nashville, it just didn't work out like that. I don't know. Like Roman Josi still managed to actually be kind of good, and Saros was okay, and they still cratered.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I wish they didn't trade Askarov.
I mean, Josi
should have traded Saros.
Yeah.
It was a haul, remember? It was like a very future type. It's what they need now.
The number one thing that I think is such a sweet trait of a hockey player is if you're going to have a long career, you have to be really good at skating. It's just, if you're good at skating, you will inevitably be able to play longer than players that aren't, like maybe their thing is their talent as opposed to their skating. And Quinn Hughes is the best skater.
Yeah. He's going to age like fine wine. Yeah. He's going to be fine.
All right, Connor, who's your non-MVP MVP?
Oh, that one's kind of tough. Being that I always love my goalies, I kind of want to choose a goalie, and I think Dax knows where this is going to go, but Vasilevsky. I just think he was such a rock this year to the point where it got like completely overlooked. Like everyone was just so, and fair enough, Hellebuck was amazing all year, 2 years in a row. It's
he had a 9.22. Did you know that?
But like everyone's been up Hellebuck's ass all year to the point where no one's talked about Vasilevsky very much. And like he's had an amazing year to the point of like, oh, hey, buddy. Vasilevsky's just been.
Connor just had Bob the cat jump on his lap.
Yeah, he's so cute.
back to the show.
Yeah, Vasilevsky has just been a rock, and I mean, he basically had one off year because he was recovering from back surgery. So that just proves what a legend this guy is, though, in hockey. As far as goaltending goes, I think he's going to go down as like Hasek level.
He has to be.
Yeah, like even more. He's won more cups than Hasek.
I feel like Vasilevsky, he suffers from greatness, and when you're so great, people expect things, and when you do great things, it's just what normal. They expect.
Yeah.
And that's all I can really think of why.
And I think, again, because Hellebuck won it last year and has had another amazing year this year, it's like everyone's just so up his butt, they're kind of ignoring everybody else. But I feel like it's been weird this year. Like, everyone's talking up Logan Thompson more than they're talking about Vasilevsky. And I'm like, I guarantee you Logan Thompson doesn't keep this up next year versus Vasilevsky's just being back to Vasilevsky. Like, I really think if he just keeps this up, because he's, like 30?
Just turned 29.
29? Like, it's nuts how much he's accomplished and how long he still has. Like, is there, like, to me, I'm like, how long until we start talking about, like, he's up there with, like, Brodeur and stuff?
Yeah,
like, I mean, Cups, President's, like, whatever trophy he doesn't already have in the case, he's 29. And
I think he's that good. I actually think he's that good.
I actually think he's going to add at least one or two more Vezinas.
Not to bring it to the fantasy draft, but that was like my biggest regret because I wanted to spend money, but I had to auto draft that first half of And I set my auto draft for like $40, and I texted Gabe. I'm like, "Did I get Vasi?" He's like, "Dude, you weren't even close."
Yeah,
I'm like, damn it.
But yeah, that's kind of my unsung hero. I think he deserves a little more credit than he gets. Like, Tampa was total comeback year, and he was basically the biggest part of it, in my opinion.
And now you have him in the draft.
Keeping him all over again. I let him go for 6 months? Had him 6-7 years, let him go for 6 months, and I had to get him back.
Wrong. There's nothing wrong. You break up, you get back together.
Had him in the other draft.
If you let him go, come back again.
Sometimes they have to walk away before you realize what you had.
All right, Gabe. Pleasant surprise of this season.
Pleasant surprise. I am pleasantly surprised with Montreal.
Yes, good take.
Looking into the season, as I told you guys off the chat, I was looking at Montreal making the playoffs 24-1. Did not bet. That would have been a good bet. And they really took off a lot sooner than I thought. Lane's been a great ad. Suzuki has taken the next level. And who was their goaltender again?
Montembeault. And then Hudson.
Yeah, they've just... Oh, yeah, Hudson. Of course. Yeah. Who can forget about Hudson? He's
killing it.
He's doing better than...
Dax was very right on that.
I really liked him, though. I really liked him. I could have been so wrong.
Yeah.
I still don't think he's Quinn Hughes, but that's just me.
I don't think he's Quinn Hughes. I just think he's I think he's good.
He is a great offensive supporting cast.
He has all the offense of Quinn Hughes and Makar, no joke, but he's just too small. And I'll keep that till the day I die. He's like 5'8".
Fair enough. But if there's one coach to coach you about playing in small games,
that's true. That's true. But St. Louis didn't play defense; he played offense. 5'8" works on offense; it doesn't work on defense.
They just have to have him play with a defensive defenseman.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Like a towering guy, like Zadorov or something.
Trade for Tyler Myers.
Oh God.
Who were you disappointed by the most, Gabe?
Well, since Connor took Nashville, I'll take the glaring obvious one and being the Rangers.
Oh, yes.
The President Trophy winners last year to not making playoffs this year with an improved cast. I don't know why Drury got a new contract 2 days ago. That was crazy.
Weird. I thought that was really weird.
Considering he still had a year left? Or like was he?
He still had. I don't know. Why did you re-sign him at all?
Why would you? After several players have blown up against
the Trouba thing too. Like it's not even the bad moves. It's the way you're doing them. It's like total like disrespect to a point of like sooner or later like these players all talk. Like they're gonna be. Like, there's no good words about Drury going around in team chats.
Exactly. I really disappointing, and I'm sure Drury had a big impact in them not making the playoffs this year, and giving them another contract is just showing how management's acting. And let's see where we go from here.
They fired the coach though, right?
Yeah,
that's gone. But like, I don't even think he was the problem. I mean, he led him to the President's Trophy, so
it's just the energy. It's just the energy.
It'd be like us firing Tocchet, right? It'd be so similar. Like he won Coach of the Year. Laviolette didn't win Coach of the Year, but he won the President's Trophy, so he was probably runner-up or next third or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like us firing Tocchet. Like, how fucked is it to go from like the highest of highs to like you missed, but then you all blame it on one person instead of like, you know, the manager who built the team too. I don't know. Yeah. We're talking about still re-signing Tocchet. We're hoping to re-sign Tocchet.
It's on him now, I think.
It is,
to be honest with you.
Yeah, but that roster is good enough to win the cup.
Yeah.
Like,
even if they return to it next year,
you don't
nothing
have to change
changed. Nothing
anything.
changed. It
you
should
just have to
be
manage the team and not.
Should at least be a playoff team.
They have 3 crazy lines.
Yeah.
Like there's no excuse.
No,
There's
Shesterkin, decent defense.
Yeah. And he just signed the contract. Like, that's two goalies that signed big contracts this year. That sucked, right?
You know what, though?
Yeah.
You know what, though? Considering where they were at our midway over-under review, they almost made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like,
JT
wrote them
really
off.
gave them a boost.
Like, we all wrote them off at that pod. And then literally like a month later, I think they came down to like the last 2 days or something.
Dude, Shesterkin's been my fantasy goalie. I don't want to get like too much and just be like, oh, my fantasy this, but like I literally had this huge banking on like you have Shesterkin, you're fine.
Should have been.
And it just made it like the entire first half of the season, I was like, my goalies are prime. And then I'd be like, I lost again because of the goalies. And it was Shesterkin again that like blew the load for us.
Yeah. Again, I like goaltending will destroy any team. Like if you're not getting at least 900 goaltending, which I believe the Rangers was less than that
for most of the
season.
I'm just
no
gonna,
chance.
I'm going to speak from across sports with goaltending, so soccer, hockey, but then just playing soccer. If you have a goalie that like can't save the puck in the big moments or the ball, it actually makes it impossible to win. Like it's actually ridiculous. I'm not saying you need Vazzy, that's crazy, but you can't have bad goaltending. You can't have bad goaltending.
No, you have no chance.
In any sport. It's crazy.
All right, Gabe, who was your non-MVP MVP?
This is one that you guys would never guess. And my pick of the year is Dylan Strome.
Okay, yeah.
I would never guess that.
You're like,
I mean, I never would have guessed it, but I like it. Yeah.
Washington, top of the East this year. Ovi, 44 goals.
You say he's helped him get his goals.
Yeah, exactly. That was pure entertainment for those like that whole month leading up to it.
Yeah.
He helped get to the playoffs, and without him, there's no one seed.
Ovi break the record. I'm sure if you went to Ovi and said which player here has done the most to help, he's probably going to say Dylan Strome, first person out of his mouth, right?
Dylan Strome's always been really good. I feel like he's always been a very good hockey player. Maybe not statistically and talked about it, but everyone's known
he was out of one of those drafts. I'm trying to remember. Was it a deep or a bad draft?
It was deep. The top 3 was McDavid, Eichel, and then Dylan Strome.
And I think he's one of those, maybe he was just one of those like rushed projects, kind of like a Markstrom, like I believe they had him in the league like right away the next year after his draft. And I think that was a mistake. Was it Chicago?
Arizona.
And I think they just rushed him. I think that's what it was. I think it was one of those, he got rushed into a role that was just way too much at 18, and they all wanted him to be freaking McDavid and Eichel, and he wasn't. And basically it took him a couple of years, and then he got the move to Washington, and then Washington kind of wasn't very good at the time, and then they kind of surprisingly got better, and he evolved, because he's still only, McDavid's age, so he's 28, 29?
Yeah.
Like, he's in his prime.
Now, I don't think he's going to repeat the point per game season.
Not quite, but
no,
would
but
you
he's solid. We know now he's like a solid
I honestly
60,
think he could.
70-point guy?
I think he could, man. I really like...
Without Ovi, like, with Ovi with the eventual decline...
Protosh is really good. I actually really like Protosh.
His brother is also pretty good. I was just reading a whole thing on Washington, but his brother's really good. Yeah, like gonna get his call up next year.
You know, he had 30 goals with 0 power play time.
That's impressive.
He didn't play a lick of power play.
It's like Hoglander almost, kind of.
30 goals. He put up. He was just under a point per game pace without any power play time.
If I'm a pro and I've had my career, like you do your thing, I look back on that and I'm so stoked on that. You're like, I put up 30 goals, and then everyone's like, oh, cool. But you're like, but I didn't get any PP time. Like, that actually is crazy.
That was what was so impressive.
Think about that. That's crazy.
Because what was so impressive about Hoglander last year? He had 24 goals and no power play time.
Like, that's so crazy.
He he was third in the league in Eden strength.
How many guys put up 30 goals and aren't on the power play? Is it just him?
I think this year, it's just him this year.
He probably led the league in even strength goals, though.
And he's shorthanded as well, too.
Did he? Oh, there you go, yeah. Because it's crazy when you actually look at 5-on-5 goals. They're never as high as you think they are. Like, no joke, Hoglander was third in the league last year in 5-on-5 goals.
With 24.
24 behind Matthews and Eichel or something like that. It was crazy. Like, you're reading that stat, you don't realize how many people score on the power play. Like, JT had whatever it was last year, 100 points.
Yeah.
Like, 46 of them were on the power play.
Holy shit.
So 5-on-5, he's like a 55, 60
You're making a lot of money if
obviously,
you're on the power play.
Power play, even if you eliminate it altogether, it's still ice time. He probably gets a little more, but it's not the same. Like,
and you got to remember that 4-on-3 OT power play when that happens.
Oh yeah,
that's money.
Or 5-on-3. I mean,
yeah,
so many lanes.
It's money.
Derek up next.
Yeah, I'm up now. It's not a surprise, but I'm just throwing it out there because we should talk about it. Obi breaking the goal record.
I was a little surprised. I mean, not at the end. Like, we all knew it was coming halfway through the year.
I feel, maybe was it surprising we knew he was going to do it? I guess maybe not this year.
At the start of the year, though, I didn't expect it. I did not think, if you had told me at the start of the year he was going to break it this year, after he only scored 29 or whatever, or 31 or whatever.
When Obi entered the league, and would you have said, if I had said to you, this guy's going to be the most goals of all time, would you have said yes?
Oh, hey, Luke, can you chime in here? Come in. Luke just walked in. Yeah. Luke is a really big Washington fan. Talking to
100%. First year he entered the league, I called it. I was like, oh, he's beating the record. So I saw him play like 3 games. I was like, this guy's here to fucking tear shit.
Fuck you, Gretzky.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Especially when he scored that goal where he's like sliding on his back.
I think that's one of my favorite. That's probably my favorite goal all time. That's like that. No one scores that goal. What is that goal?
The amount of times I've seen that on replays,
it was like toe drag through
behind your back.
So yeah, like inevitable by the end. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't know it was going to but it was just like, that's crazy to me that was possible because all of Gretzky's stats seem impossible.
Yeah.
Especially the assist one. I'm pretty sure to break Gretzky's assist record, you become the number 2 points getter all time. So it's not even goals, just an assist. If you get that, you're number 2 on the list.
You just have to dish all day.
That just shows. So, yeah, Obi, congratulations. I was so happy for him. I'm not going to lie and say I've always been an Obi fan because when we were in high school at the very start, there was always the debate, Obi and Crosby. And I chose Crosby, but I wasn't an Obi hater. But as time's gone on, I realized there's no such thing as you have to choose. I just love them both, and especially when Ovi won his cup, fun. The way he won it, I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!"
The party and the celebrating just made you love him more.
Shout out to Ovi, congratulations, you're the man.
So,
documentary on.
Did they?
They're doing one.
Oh hell yeah, that'll be so sweet.
How much of it is him just drinking?
Most disappointed.
This is a homer one, but the Canucks,
don't get too into it.
I'm not going to get too into it, but we know, the season we had, the JT thing, the Demko entry, all this stuff,
the PD thing,
as much as you want to say bad luck, whatever you think, this is always the Canucks. This is just always the Canucks. So homer pick, it was a very disappointing Canucks season, and I don't even think it was disappointing on the level of I thought we were going to be so good. It's we didn't have to make the playoffs, and I could have been happy. It's the way we did it.
It felt out of your control at times.
It was just bull. Dude, we all listened to all the podcasts and the radio of Donnie Dolly and all them, right? Sat, and I can't remember who's his guy that he does it with, but after JT got traded, it was 2 weeks later. And Sat just was sitting there talking about Hoglander got it in deep and he went and bumped hard and lost the puck. And I felt like he could work harder to get those. And he was like, you know what's sad? This is the first time in 3 months that I've talked about hockey as the main focus of the Canucks season, as opposed to is PT upset with what JT Miller said after practice? And it's are you fucking kidding me?
It didn't get any better.
Yeah.
Let's just press pause on this because I have a huge segment on this.
Okay, sorry. So just the Canucks season. But then my unsung hero, it's not a player, it's the entirety of the league. So Ovi getting what he had. I felt like the last 10 games of the season were so exciting across the board, just getting into the playoffs. The product you're watching on the ice is really good right now. Like you said, like San Jose is good. So my unsung hero was just the NHL was a very good product this year, and it made me.
That's a good take.
It made me like happy for its future because I'm not like when I say this, I'm not saying it like I don't know if they'll survive, but sometimes it's a little lackluster, and this has been a good year.
Especially we were living through a flat cap era.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what it's going to look like coming out of it. You assume the league's doing okay, but sometimes you see half-empty stadiums and you wonder. And then, seeing the cap the way it's going up and realizing that the league's actually been insanely profitable recently. Rand
and the trades, just all of it. It's so a good entertainment product.
You're realizing that the league is growing and actually getting better, and even when it comes to the piss poor clubs, they're managing to somehow be entertaining.
Yes.
And I feel like even teams like Montreal are showing that rebuilds don't have to take 5 or 10 years. Like you can flip the switch in a couple of years with the right situation. So.
Exactly. So that my unsung hero is just we got a good product on the ice.
We're obviously for the first round of the playoffs now. So before we switch gears here, who are your Stanley Cup predictions? I'm going to go first. Toronto Maple Leafs.
No way.
Florida.
Me? You guys go first. I'm actually trying to think.
Florida. Sorry, I just want to go back. Just one thing when we're talking about Ovi and everything. We have to give a shout out to Crosby as well. Because he broke the record for 20th season of point per game.
He broke Wayne's record,
which is insane.
That's a Sid stat.
Yeah, Mr. Consistent.
It's literally his 20th season of point per game.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
Do you remember the season he had the concussions because he like fractured his C1 or 2 or whatever? He had some issue in like his neck, and he was 2 months after he got injured.
Someone finally broke it
until they finally passed him in the scoring race that year.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure that season he probably also got over point per game, and he played
we still got like 40 points.
He
played like 50 games.
I love Sid, so I'll always shout him out.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup predict. I'm struggling. Derek, you go.
I'm just gonna give it. I would really like Dallas to win it, so I'm gonna go with them. I don't know if they actually will, but I just like that. I like the franchise, and I just kind of want Rantanen to win it, just kind of off the back of all that's happened.
I'm gonna go Winnipeg.
Ooh,
Canadian team.
That would be nice to see.
I would love it.
Toronto's Canadian.
Yeah.
Fuck them, right? Fuck
nobody in Canada, even half the Toronto doesn't want them to win. So I'm gonna go Winnipeg because I don't know many Canadians that would be mad about Winnipeg winning. I think it'd be fun, it'd be cool, and their team has a bunch of guys that just, I don't know, Hellebuck, obviously, Scheifele, Kyle Connor. I do think they have what it takes. Like, their roster's good. They did win the President's Trophy, obviously, and they've been like a perennial playoff team for like 7 or 8 years already.
And Hellebuck doesn't look like he's going to implode, like as he usually does in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's everything, right? It's how does he play? Because you don't win the cup if you don't have really good goaltending. That's just a fact, right? Like,
you don't even have to have like literal good.
Series.
It just has to be like
steal a series
or a really hot goalie that's playing very well. Yeah, but like it just has to be in the moment.
It depends
really
on your
good.
team quality. I think their team is good enough that he doesn't have to win every series, like outduel the other goalie. He just has to steal a series or 2. Kind of like how we were if we had ever won. Like Luongo, I want to say, really only stole the Chicago series, and you could argue the San Jose series. Yeah, like it wasn't like he stole them; it was just him. But like,
he was better.
Like he outdueled the other goalie significantly.
Yeah. Well, okay. So before we kind of sign off and go into the Canucks here, it's funny we brought up the even strength goals and how it's a random group of guys. I looked it up. The list of guys. So this is the top 10 this year for even strength goals, and it's a who's who of players.
It's not star players, is it?
No, dude. This is the year where all the stars came out.
It is? Oh, okay.
So Tage Thompson with 37.
I heard that recently.
That's the bottom?
Yeah.
Draisaitl with 36.
Okay.
Pasta with 34. Wow. Nylander with 33. Wow. Brandon Hagel with 32. Wow. Kyle Connor and Ovi tied with 30. Kucherov and Panarin and Kyrou. And then Morgan Geekie, all of 29.
Oh.
Morgan Geekie?
Morgan Geekie.
How many goals did Morgan Geekie?
29.
Let's see.
Did he have any power play goals? Yeah, that's
33.
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
But I think we should take a little break here because I have to go to the bathroom and then we'll hit back.
Yeah, we'll turn them to the Canucks. Yeah.